Hi.
That was abrupt. I thought it would just test it, but it cut us off immediately.
It
So,
sure did. It said your mic is muted. I
yeah.
said, oh, all right.
Right. So, hi, welcome everyone. This is Dr. B, and I have Jennifer here with me. She is a friend, and she's a friend of the group as well, and also True Crime Fanatics. So, very knowledgeable, very hilarious. So, I'm looking forward to talking about Kyle Rittenhouse today and his case with Jen.
Yay.
Yay! So we were just talking before we came on about how polarizing this case is and how there are different opinions about it, and we understand that, we acknowledge that. But for me, I'm interested in the actual just case itself, just the criminal case itself, and how it will play out. Because if you followed this case from the beginning, or if you haven't, I should say, I'm going to pull up this article that kind of summarizes what this live is going to be about. So, one second. Okay, while I get this set up, why don't you, Jen, give us some preliminary thoughts about what you think?
Um, I am more like you in the fact that I'm more interested in the legality of the situation. I'm curious to know. I know what the prosecution is alleging, like I get all that, but I'm curious to know what his defense is going to present.
Mm-hmm.
And then based on that, how what all what all the jury will take into account. Like I want to see the trial, obviously, but the thing that I most want to see is the juror notes when they reach their verdict. I really want to see. I'm always curious when you get 12 people who don't even know each other in a room and they start talking about stuff that they've seen and how they perceive the evidence. I'm always curious as to what for each of them the evidence that was presented, which what means what to them, which impacted them the most, which,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
It's
is.
always interesting to see that.
Yeah, and that's the thing about law, which I find fascinating, is something that I encountered in the forensic part of psychology, is how the intersection between law and mental health and how wishy-washy and gray that can get, because we can't, um, you know, have a sample in a test tube that says this person does have a mental illness, and so we can't do that with mental health. So when those two intersect, it's always fascinating for me. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from. But looking at this case right now, it's very emotionally triggering for a lot of people, but at the same time it's also very convoluted, because if you look at just the bare facts of the case, I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made on the defense side too, so it should be
Hmm.
interesting.
That's the part I'm curious about
Mm-hmm.
because when I think I'd been here like a year in Florida, and there was a case at a gas station where um, this guy shot another guy, and he claimed it was self-defense. And it started out like as an argument, but it was really quick. It was like, I don't know, maybe a minute or two they were arguing, and I think it was over a parking spot. I can't even remember what it was, but Florida is a stand your ground state, but there's like little asterisks inside of a stand your ground, like how many times did you shoot? And you really have to, it goes to the person who's done the shooting. It goes to their mindset, like what is it, when exactly did they feel their life was in jeopardy, and when exactly did they feel that they had no other reason or no other thing to do. There was nothing left to do but to shoot this person. It's interesting to me because you'll hear it and then you'll think, but I wouldn't do that. But you don't know, or that doesn't seem life threatening to me, but you don't know. So it's always interesting to me when we go to talking about, like you said, mental health and the law, because there's not like a blood test. It's not like you can get a CAT scan. I mean, obviously you can see like frontal lobe damage, but that's, you know what I'm saying? But not like depression or, it's not like
Right.
an actual, you don't pee on a stick and it tells you, so it's
Right.
interesting
You
to
have
me.
schizophrenia. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't work that
You're
way.
you're
So.
crazy in the way people can enjoy. Go on about your life. Oh no, you're crazy in a way that needs a self-hugging jacket. Come back. Like there's not a test for it.
Oh God. All right. So I've let's see. Does that work? I hope so. So this is an article from Kenosha News, and it was published yesterday. And it says an 18-year-old Illinois teen charged with fatally shooting 2 people during a protest in southeastern Wisconsin last year is prohibited from associating with known white supremacists under a judge's recently modified bail conditions. Kyle was 17 during the August 25th demonstration. Demonstration, that was a riot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, as hundreds were protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man. Rittenhouse has been charged with multiple counts, including reckless and intentional homicide, endangerment, and being a minor in possession of a firearm. Prosecutors allege Rittenhouse, who is white, left his home in Antioch, Illinois, and traveled to Kenosha to answer a call for militia to protect businesses. Kenosha was in the throes of several nights of chaotic street demonstrations after a white officer shot Blake in the back during a domestic disturbance, leaving Blake paralyzed. Rittenhouse opened fire with an assault-style rifle during the protest, killing Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, and wounding Gage Grosskreutz. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty to all counts and argued he fired in self-defense. Conservatives have rallied around him, generating enough money to make his $2 million cash bail. According to online court records, a Wisconsin judge modified Rittenhouse's conditions of release on Friday to note Rittenhouse shall not knowingly have contact, I'm assuming that should be, but shall not knowingly have contact with any person or group of persons known to harm, threaten, harass, or menace others on the basis of their race, beliefs on the subject of religion, color, national origin, or gender. He's also barred from possessing and consuming alcohol and from having firearms. Prosecutors had requested the modifications after Rittenhouse was seen drinking at a bar in the southeastern Wisconsin city of Mount Pleasant, which is right outside of Kenosha, about 25 miles south of Milwaukee earlier this month. The legal drinking age is 21, but in Wisconsin, Rittenhouse could legally drink alcohol because he was with his mother. According to WMTV, prosecutors wrote in their request that Rittenhouse also posed for a photo outside Pudgy's pub with 2 men as they made the OK sign with their hands, a symbol used by white supremacists. Prosecutors also alleged 5 men at the tavern serenaded Rittenhouse with a song that has become the anthem of the Proud Boys, a neo-fascist group. So that's what has been summarized in this article. And I'm going to pull up the prosecution's actual motion or whatever it's called.
They're filing?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Hey, it's Sunday. Who cares? We can just,
this is the one time I'm not judging. I'm just laughing.
yeah. All right. So this was filed on the 13th. And this is from the state. So this is prosecution. And they're asking for bond modifications. And they're asking for these specific restrictions or conditions. So he shall be prohibited from possessing or consuming alcohol, shall not be present in any establishment where alcohol is served. Defendant shall be prohibited from making any public display of any white power or white supremacy signs, symbols, or hand gestures. The defendant shall have no contact with any known militia members or known members of any violent white power, white supremacist groups or organizations, including but not limited to the group identified as the Proud Boys. So, factual background. The defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, was arraigned in the above captioned matter at approximately 1 p.m. on January 5, 2021, before the court commissioner, Lauren Keating, so that's his, from his arraignment. So they're talking about when he had to appear. So he was at his lawyer's office at the time. So he had a court hearing that day. So not approximately 90 minutes later, the defendant, along with his mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, and several other adults arrived at Pudgy's Pub, located at 7800 Washington Avenue in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Local law enforcement was later notified of the defendant's presence in the bar, and surveillance video and still footage of the visit was later retrieved and reviewed. So basically, they went to the bar after the hearing, and somebody notified the district attorney's office. Well, they notified police that he was there, and I'm assuming the police then contacted the district attorney's office. So this is how they became aware of it. It goes on. The defendant was present at the bar with his mother and several other adults for approximately 90 minutes. See affidavit of, so I think this is, he attached this, his exhibits. Sorry, so that's the photos, I guess, that he attached to this, but we'll get to those. So the defendant was wearing a t-shirt that read "Free as F." Immediately upon arriving at the bar, the defendant posed for photographs with two other adult males in his group. In these photographs, the defendant and the other adult males flashed the OK sign, which has been co-opted as a sign of white power by known white supremacist groups. The defendant then entered the bar and was immediately and directly served a beer by the bartender. The defendant consumed a total of 3 beers in the 90-minute period that he was inside the bar. Within a few minutes of entering the bar, the defendant was loudly serenaded by 5 of the adult males in his group with the song "Proud of Your Boy," which is an obscure song written for the 1992 Disney film Aladdin. The violent white supremacist group called the Proud Boys was named after the song, which is sung by its members as an anthem for self-identification. The defendant later posed for several photographs with these adults in the bar. In each of these photographs, the defendant and the other adults flashed the OK sign used by known white supremacists. The defendant then remained with these Proud Boys for the entire time he was in the bar. Legal authority. So this Wisconsin statute states the defendant is eligible for release under reasonable conditions. So now they're arguing, I'm not gonna go read through all of this, but he's basically saying a defendant who is charged, as this one is, with first-degree intentional homicide may even be denied pretrial release if certain conditions are met. So in this case, he was released on a $2 million bond. This money was raised by an internet funding campaign. Upon information and belief, neither the defendant nor his family have any financial stake in the defendant's bond. So the prosecutor is really saying, like, okay, look, this is what's happening. He then argues the alcohol piece. He says the defendant turned 18 on January 3rd, 2021. He's a resident in Illinois, and it is illegal for him to drink in his home state. But in Wisconsin, the legal age is also 21, but you can drink in a bar as long as you're accompanied by your parent starting at age 18. So technically, they're saying he was not in violation of his bond conditions. So, but here the prosecutor is saying, obviously, this is a violent offense. This is essentially he's being charged with murder, and the effects of alcohol, especially for him. Kyle is in the risk group. I mean, he's 18, his brain is not developed. So prosecutors making the argument that that should be part of his bond condition, is to not drink or be around alcohol because of the increased potential for violence. And then he goes on to talk about the Proud Boys. And I don't know much about white supremacists or groups and their organizations. So this was also new to me. I don't think I even read this far. So I'm just going to read through this, and then we'll look at the photos and then just kind of talk about it, and I'll open the panel up too. Okay,
I,
so, go
can I
ahead.
just say something really quick?
Yeah.
I'm always amazed and a little in awe of the song choice of some of these groups. Hello, Aladdin. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, I
See,
mean,
I
that's
don't
all I'm
get
going to
that.
say about that because it's kind of like YMCA. Does he even know what that song is about? Because I can't. I feel like he. I just like
I have not listened or heard the songs, but I was taken aback by that. I mean, their anthem and their theme song is what a an Aladdin song. Like, what? I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. So I guess I have to
I mean,
do
I
some
can
more research.
appreciate people using really obscure songs for the soundtrack of their life. Okay, but um, I can tell you right now, there's nothing going on in my life now, in the past, or in the foreseeable future that would make me use an Aladdin song. I mean, I love the movie, but like, okay.
Well, I guess don't F with them.
Guess not. Now I'm going to have to look that song up because I don't remember that being in the movie at all.
What the heck? All right. Sorry about that.
Oops.
Yeah, I don't. The internet went down, so the stream went down. Oh God. All right. Well, hold on. I need to get myself situated now. Well, I have a backup now up on my phone too. So
Uh-oh. Okay, I guess we lost Dr. B again. Let's look at the comments. I don't understand taking your kid to a bar. I wouldn't do it. I like my kids and everything, but mm-mm. I don't want to get drunk with them or anything.
all
And I have
right.
3 that are old enough to drink. I wouldn't do it.
Now, okay, obviously the internet is not working. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm on my phone now, so I can't pull up the screen. Um, 1 second. I'm gonna get the link in the chat as well. So if anyone wants to come in, well, I don't know how to do that here.
Oh my. I don't know how to do it either, so
Well, I think one of the mods, I think they can paste it if they don't mind. Go figure. But I'm just gonna continue reading this. Um, so we can learn about these Proud Boys.
yeah, because I don't I don't know a whole lot about them, or I don't know. I just don't know a whole lot about them. I mean, I see their names being brought up frequently, but I've never really looked into them.
Yeah, me neither. But we're gonna learn today. All right. So the prosecutor says the Proud Boys is a national, male only organization operating in the United States and Canada that has been designated as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti Defamation League. Currently, Canada is considering designating the Proud Boys as a terrorist organization. The Proud Boys organization was founded in 2016 by Gavin McInnes. Is that how you say it? McInnes. I'm just going to say McInnes. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Okay, so the group, initially through McInnes, has advocated violence, stating violence is a really effective way to solve problems, and, close quote, that was in quote, and open quote, we don't start fights, but we will finish them, close quote. The Proud Boys have been involved in several extremist rallies and movements, and multiple Proud Boys members have been arrested for various assaultive crimes. Indeed, members of the Proud Boys group have been tied to the breach of the United States Capitol building on January 6, 2021, and at least one of their leaders has been arrested and charged in connection with the event. And they provided footnotes for all of these, so all of the sources where they got this from, if anyone cares to look at that. He goes on to say the Proud Boys is organized in local branches and chapters throughout North America. Membership in the Proud Boys requires a 4-step gang-like initiation process. The first stage is taking a loyalty oath, stating, I'm a proud Western chauvinist, and I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world, close quote. Second, the applicant is repeatedly punched until they correctly answer pop culture trivia. What the hell?
I would never be punched. That's like a stupid human trick. They'd be so
What the
frustrated with
hell?
me.
Wait a minute now. Are trivia nights really just secret initiation freaking rituals?
Oh man, get your
Damn
full
it.
head out.
All right, so I just want to know, like, do they have like a set of retired questions that they've asked people?
Right, like after you go through the like you let's say you have 4 people, okay? So then how does that work? You
I
gotta
don't
you gotta ask them
know.
different questions, or they're all gonna get nobody's gonna get punched, but the one person who didn't know the answer at first. This does not seem like it's well thought out. Okay, but please go on.
Right. Okay, so let's go. So that was oh crap. I almost um got rid of it now. Of course, I have to exit. Okay, here we go. So that was number 2. And the third stage is getting a Proud Boys tattoo. The fourth and final stage is committing an act of violence for quote unquote the cause. Okay, so to recap, number 1, in order to become a Proud Boy, you have to take a loyalty oath saying that you're a proud Western chauvinist and
Chauvinist.
chauvinist.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
And I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. That's 1. The second step is you get repeatedly punched for each pop culture trivia question that you get wrong.
I can't I can't move past the second phase. Oh my god.
Hi, Kim. Thank you so much. Thank you, Unjustified. Please feel free to come up on panel. I don't know if I know how to add people. If it will show up here, I should say.
I think it does on the phone. I think it works the same as on your
Oh,
laptop.
okay, good. So I'll keep an eye out on that. So, so that was the second step is the punching. The third is a tattoo, and the fourth is you have to commit an act of violence for the cause. The Proud Boys are often seen wearing clothing with the Proud Boys slogan in yellow and black, along with a symbol of a rooster on a weather vane facing west with the words, "The West is the best." So their
Yikes.
mascot is a cock, basically.
Their mascot is a rooster on a weather vane, which was a very popular decorating item in 1950. Well played, sirs. Well played. Yeah, because roosters are inherently scary. Oh my God. Lord Jesus, fix it.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. Have you ever been chased by one? Those motherfuckers
Okay.
can get real
I will say
fast.
this.
Like,
I'm not a fan of birds because in general, because they kind of
mm-mm.
freak me out because they don't have, I mean, I know they have eyelids, right? But when their eyes are open, you don't see them and they almost look like velociraptors. I'm not even going to lie. Okay. And they freak me out. And my Nana, she used to have these ducks and they were mean ducks. So
Oh, I
yeah,
can't. No.
you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like if I was going to start a gang, it wouldn't be a rooster. I'd want something more, I don't know. Okay. And who's giving these tattoos? Is this like a licensed tattoo artist? Is this a shop? Are people taking the correct universal precautions? Is the equipment cleaned on the regular? I have several follow-up questions. I
Yeah.
wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it.
All
uh,
right. Wow. Okay. So yeah, the West is the best. Um, Additionally, some Proud Boys associated apparel displays 6MWE, an acronym meaning 6 million wasn't enough, referring to Jewish Holocaust victims. Now that's fucked up.
God.
The name Proud Boys comes from the song Proud of Your Boy, originally written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken for the 1992 Disney film Aladdin. While not included in the movie, the song was included in the stage musical adaptation beginning in 2011. Proud Boys founder McInnes, I guess, stated he became aware of the song in 2015 while at his daughter's recital. Misinterpreting the meaning of the song, McInnes believes it was a song about a boy. So it was a song about, quote, a boy apologizing for being a boy when actually we should let boys be boys, close quote. So there's that. McInnes named his group due to the song and therefore chose the song to be the anthem of the Proud Boys, saying it was the most annoying song in the world and that he could not get enough of it. All right,
That's a lie. He went to Broadway and he just doesn't want to admit it to his friends. Stop playing with us.
Yeah, so now, okay,
You got to pretend like you were forced to go to your daughter's recital. Stop playing with people. You went to Broadway. Just own it. Broadway's fun. Okay, I'll be serious.
No, girl. Look, you can't be serious. We're talking about a gang initiation process that requires you to watch Aladdin, the Broadway version. So this actually sounds, and they're called the Proud Boys. Like, I think there's some underlying sexuality confusion going on there.
I don't know why they, instead of pop culture trivia, why don't they just, you ever seen that Family Guy episode where Joe gets his legs back and he makes them all sing that song Good Morning, and when they don't get it right, he's beating the crap out of them? Why didn't they just do that? That sounds a lot more fun than pop culture trivia.
Right.
Sing show tunes. You're already ripping off a Broadway song. Go ahead. I mean, come on, go all the way.
For real. Oh my gosh. The next thing you know, McInnes will be finding himself in the Book of Mormon musical.
I feel like McInnes might be salty because he tried out for like Rent and was rejected, and this is his lifelong, now this is his way to be on Broadway, off Broadway.
Yes. So he creates a boy band. Boys only, no girls.
All that's missing is what's that boy band? Ron Perlman, isn't that his name? Not Ron Perlman. Lou Pearlman. Lou Pearlman.
Girl, I have no idea.
Oh, skeevy perv.
All right. So now, traditionally, the okay hand gesture has been used to simply mean affirmative or okay. Let me just see if my internet is back so that I can continue sharing the screen, at least.
I'm kind of curious what their ensembles look like.
Your who?
Their ensembles. I see how fancy they are with their cocks.
1 second. Oh.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Why can't I hear anything? I'm trying to figure out who's who.
Trying to figure out who's who, like in the case, who you are inside.
Oh, there you are.
I'm trying to figure out who's who, like in a global sense, like in a me sense.
That's my phone. Oh, wait a minute. Why can I hear this? No, that's wrong. There we go.
Oh.
Well, oh my gosh, you guys. This is funny. All right, I'm back on the computer now, so I can finally share the damn thing with you. I'm just going to share my entire screen. Okay. Can you see this? Yes.
Why do you have 1100 tabs open? This is why your stuff doesn't work.
I need all of them.
You don't need all of them right now.
Well, I tried to organize myself so that I could have everything ready. And then, of course, I click everywhere at once and then just lose my spot. So, see, I have a little chat window here so that I can see.
Look at you.
I don't know what all y'all can see, but here we go. This is what I'm looking at right now. How do I get rid of this thing? Okay. So, the okay sign. Now that would be this thing that they're doing with their, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously it's intentional. It's not just like, hey, okay.
Who even uses that sign anymore? When's the last time that you were like, okay?
Right?
What's funny is if they were using two hands and holding one as the okay and one as like upside down, that stands for brown pride, which is a whole different gang.
Wait a minute. I have the pictures here. See what I mean? I prepared.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I listen to the feedback that I get from people in the comment section. So
So hold on to your seats. We're about to get professional.
yes, but yeah, see, this is what it is. So they're all holding the okay sign, and this is that group that the prosecutor referred to who serenaded him. They sang Proud Boy or whatever. They basically put on a show for him when he walked into the bar.
I can see cardio is not required to be in the Proud Boys. Good to know.
Well, I'm immediately excluded anyways, but here they are posing some more. Here he is drinking that beer. And nobody is wearing a mask, as you can see. So that's Wisconsin for you. But okay, so let's go back. So recently, however, it's been co-opted as a symbol of white supremacy, white power. In 2017, anonymous users of the online message board 4chan began a hoax called Operation OKKK to see if they could trick the wider world into believing the gesture was a symbol of white power. Unfortunately, what began as a joke or a hoax became reality. By 2019, the gesture was routinely used by neo-Nazis, KKK, and other white nationalists in public to signal their presence and to spot potential sympathizers and recruits. The sign has been adopted by the white supremacy extremist movement, and the letters formed by the hand gesture no longer stand for the letters OK, but for WP, for white power. Several individuals accused of racially motivated crimes have used the sign on camera. The state requests that the court prohibit the defendant from publicly displaying symbols and gestures that are associated with violent white supremacist groups and from associating with known members of those groups, particularly the Proud Boys. And then he goes on to say, are we still on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking it. All right. So, Wisconsin statute states non-monetary conditions of bond may be imposed if they are deemed reasonably necessary to protect members of the community from serious bodily harm or prevent intimidation of witnesses. The defendant's continued association with members of a group that prides itself on violence and the use of their symbols raises the significant possibility of future harm. Further, this association may serve to intimidate potential witnesses who may be unwilling to testify in this case because they may fear that the defendant's associates with harm them or their families. Threaten or intimidate, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
Yeah. And then the response, so that was the prosecution. This is the defense. So Kyle Rittenhouse, by and through his attorney, Mark D. Richards, hereby responds to the state's motion to modify conditions of bond as follows. Number one, Mr. Rittenhouse does not object to a bond condition prohibiting the possession or consumption of alcohol. Number two, Mr. Rittenhouse is not currently and has not ever been a member of any of the organizations the state lists in its motion. Number three, the known complainants in this matter are all Caucasian males. Number four, the state has done an extensive search of all of Mr. Rittenhouse's social media as part of its investigation in this case. Upon information and belief, no information linking Mr. Rittenhouse to the listed organizations has been found. Additionally, the state has presented no evidence of Mr. Rittenhouse visiting any of the listed organizations' websites. The state's bond motion is a not so thinly veiled attempt to interject the issue of race into a case that is about a person's right to self-defense. Nonetheless, as Mr. Rittenhouse has no membership, affiliation, or affinity for any of the identified groups, the defense has no objection to a bond modification prohibiting Kyle from having any known contact with any known hate groups or their members. And so that's what the judge then ordered. The judge modified the bond, and that would be here. So on the 22nd, which is Friday, it was modified to state that the defendant shall neither possess nor consume alcoholic beverages. The defendant shall not knowingly have contact with any person or group of persons known to harm, threaten, harass, or menace others on the basis of their race, beliefs, on the subject of religion, color, national origin, or gender, no weapons, specifically firearms, and no contact with victims in the case. So that's Kyle. So now I want to discuss this in depth.
Okie dokie.
So I'll put up his picture, and I'll put up the chat here so I can see it, and so we can discuss it. But what are your thoughts, Jen? Just from like a case, I guess, from a case study point of view, what are your thoughts about the arguments here and what the state is alleging?
I mean, so here we have the defense's answer, which is he doesn't affiliate with these people. They're not his friends, so this is no big deal. Mm-hmm. And then conversely, the prosecution says, well, he clearly, at least right here, he's hanging out with them. I know I can kind of see where the defense is going with this. They're going to say that this had nothing to do with anything bigger or anything else going on other than this kid was scared for his life, and that's why he did what he did. Mm-hmm. But they're going to have, and I know that there's video and that, but there is some really graphic video, but the video doesn't, I've seen, oh yeah, mm-hmm. I watched it.
I actually linked the video that I made in the description, which if I knew how to get to here we go. I
You
can.
don't have it there in one of your 11 billion tabs?
No. So, but I made a video of the timeline of events, and so I guess the shooting. So I think basically like the point of my timeline is to just show how chaotic it was that night. I mean, if you look at this,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't even look like Kenosha. This looks like some freaking third world country, and it's no secret that I lived in Kenosha and I fell in love with Kenosha and the community. So it definitely, like, I definitely am invested in this, and not in a outcome, but I'm just really interested in paying attention to what is, what's going on. So I was definitely intently paying attention. So here is the shooting now, I think. I don't know. Okay, right. So this is one of the victims. He is now chasing Kyle Rittenhouse, the defendant, and throwing a bag, what looks like a bag, at him. So I don't know if y'all can see this good, but is there sound?
I can't
Hopefully.
hear it if there is. I can't hear it, but let me look in chat and see.
See right there. I mean, there's there's a guy laying there, and there's Kyle on the phone. He's calling his. Okay, so let me just walk you through because that's all in the affidavit. So in this moment, Kyle has shot this guy. I can't remember if it was multiple gunshot wounds or if it was one, but I know that the guy was beat up pretty good. And in that moment, Kyle then called his friend Dominic, the same guy who purchased this rifle for him, or gun. I don't know the difference between the different guns, but the semi-automatic. So he called him and said, "I just killed a white boy," and then proceeded to run from the scene. As obviously, like, there's a bunch of people around, so they've all witnessed this now, and
Mm-hmm.
so obviously they're gonna start probably chasing or pointing, or it's gonna become very intense. So he's running off now. Sorry, this is, if you can't hear it. So now, like, the crowds, some are starting to follow Kyle. So this is a close up of that. So he throws a bag at him and he turns around and just shoots him. And he starts chasing him after he fired the first shot. So here he turns around and just bam. So, I mean, to me, right there is clear. Like, I can see the argument for self-defense because he was chasing him in an aggressive manner. But the fact that he didn't render aid, and as you can see now, he didn't call 911. He didn't, do any of those things.
But
That
he did at some point call 911. No, yes or no? Or is that
No.
he went to the cops that were down there already, right?
Well,
Isn't that what
here
he did?
you can see that here. So he walks up to the cops. He's running through well, actually, hold on. This is the second shooting now.
Mm-hmm.
So he falls to ground and he shoots one guy, the guy with the skateboard, and the second guy now. So the guy with the skateboard, he actually did hit him with the skateboard in an attempt to stop him. And Kyle shot, and I think it hit him in the lungs, and he passed away. And then the third guy was apparently also a medic who was there just for the protests. And he was armed, and for some reason, he took out his gun and went directly at Kyle, and Kyle shot into his arm, basically shooting part of his arm off. But he was armed, as you can see, like he's holding a gun. So I think that as far as defense, he does have some good arguments, but it's what happens afterwards. Like right now, how calmly he walks away, methodically turns around, fires warning shots, turns back around, and it's just, and then is told by police to get the F off the street. And he was able to then go get in the car and drive to a different state, where he then was able to turn himself in to his local police. So I don't know. That's I just can't wrap my mind around it. This is
a tricky one.
Oh, and there's people saying he's a shooter. He just shot them. If anything, for me, this whole situation, obviously the kid needs to be held accountable for whatever laws he has broken. And if the jury finds that this was self-defense, then let it be self-defense. But I think what the issue here is, obviously there's multiple adults in this kid's life,
right,
who are encouraging and allowing this behavior and enabling this behavior. There's no, look, maybe I'm old school, but when I was this kid's age, if I was running around talking about let me get a gun so I can go protect the business, my mom would throw her slipper at me faster than you can say the NRA.
That's the part that I'm having an issue with. Like, first of all, why, as a mom, like, to me, as a parent, your first and primary function as a parent is to protect your children. I mean, that's how you start out. When they're babies, that's what you do. And then you teach them all the things they got to know to make it in society. But the scene in Kenosha was mayhem. Okay. And why would you knowingly drive your kid into mayhem? Because it could have ended very differently. Kyle could have ended up dead. Do you know that people have been killed with skateboards being used as a weapon? Obviously, skating is inherently dangerous, but people have killed other people with a skateboard. All it takes is one good crack across the noggin, and that's that. And that kid did crack him across the noggin. He did. And I feel like the kid was trying to disarm him, but it was I don't know if I guess I can't say, I guess he's a kid to me because, I'm older, but he's not like legally a child, but still, right. This went so wrong in so many ways. And all of it could have been prevented that night if that mom had just not driven her kid into mayhem. I wouldn't have driven my kid.
And then to top it all off, to take the kid to a bar after his preliminary hearing, to take him to a bar and where he's serenaded by, they should know better, and they should know that would cause controversy. And the fact that if Kyle didn't have enough brains, I guess, because again, he is an adolescent, and we know that he's not fully developed yet, and who knows where he is in terms of his moral compass or whatever, because it does seem like there might be some indoctrination going on, because from the moment this happened, Kyle's mother was right alongside of him, providing the ride to from, taking him to Kenosha on multiple days, because they had been there on several occasions before. And so I don't know. For me, like my initial thought is just how negligent of a parent to do that.
I just can't figure out what was going on in her brain that thought this would be in any way, shape, or form a good idea. No matter what side you're on, no matter that it started out as a protest and then it devolved into a riot, or it was always a riot, it really doesn't matter, because either way, the scene was chaotic and dangerous.
It
And
was.
a 17-year-old, and this is why we don't give 17-year-olds firearms. I am very pro Second Amendment. I feel like with conditions, you can. This is a prime example of improper gun safety. Why would you put a gun in the hands of a 17-year-old in the middle of a riot? It's one thing to take your kid out hunting. That's a controlled environment. It's another thing, and that's risky too. But it's another thing to take your kid to a dadgum melee. Like, I don't know. What was this mom thinking? That it's like Call of Duty? Is he going to respawn? What if he'd have been shot
Mm-hmm.
because he's armed?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is just bad circumstances all around. I think he has an excellent case for
Mm-hmm.
self-defense. What scares me, though, about this particular individual, him specifically as a person, is, and it's hard to tell from the video because it's not like up in his face or whatever, but he doesn't seem panicked. He's just like
Mm-hmm.
almost attached.
And I think that's the training kicking in. That's the thing, because this isn't his first experience. I think, again, like I put that timeline together because I've watched, like I'm obsessed with this case just because, again, Kenosha is close to my heart and I've witnessed this live basically. So yeah, I've seen all the footage. And I think that, what the hell were we talking about?
I just want to say this. Bernewski, I didn't say his mom gave him the gun. That was not, but she and you're saying that she didn't drive him to Kenosha? Because I'm confused, as I'm thought she did. Did she not drive him?
Yeah, that was what was in the affidavit.
Huh. I mean, I know she didn't give him the gun.
Yeah, the gun was purchased for him by his friend.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, right?
In Wisconsin, correct.
Which is why he wasn't charged additionally with carrying a firearm over state lines.
Well, let me see what all of his... Oh, yeah, that's correct. Yes. But these are all of his charges. So 1, first-degree reckless homicide. 2, first-degree recklessly endangering safety. 3, first-degree intentional homicide. 4, attempted first-degree intentional homicide. 5, first-degree recklessly endangering safety. And 6, possessing a dangerous weapon, person under 18. And then 7, failure to comply with emergency management order of state or local government, which is the
curfew.
Yes. And
okay.
that was one point that I argued as well, is that nobody was supposed to be out on those streets at that time.
No, they weren't.
And the first victim, as a matter of fact, the first victim who was throwing the bag at Kyle. Okay, here we go. He was actually out on probation actually, I don't know if it was probation or if it was out on bond, actually.
Oh, wow.
I believe he had just gotten out of
like a mental health facility.
That's right. That's
right.
Oh,
the bag thrower?
Yes.
Yes, he was there for some sort of, I think, domestic assault or something like that. I don't know for sure on that, but he was there for some reason.
Correct. I can look it up now, too.
What was in the bag that he threw?
To be perfectly honest, I think people focus on the bag and it's not really important. I mean, in this specific situation, and the reason that I think he's going to, definitely the self-defense, claim will hold is that the fact that he was chasing him and, again, throwing the bag, I don't think is important. I just think the fact that he was chasing this kid with a gun, when you're the kid with the gun and there's a guy chasing you, have to assume that there's intent to cause physical harm to you.
Well, I think throwing the bag is an act of aggression, further supporting Kyle's case of self-defense, because he was being aggressive. He was a threat to Kyle.
I agree, and I don't think you're wrong. I just think that it's not like, I think just the act of chasing him down in the first place is enough that, the bag, because a lot's been made about the bag, about whether or not there was something in the bag or whether or not the bag was, holding something heavy, or if it was just a bag of chips or something. I don't think that's what's important when it comes to his overall case. I think it's kind of insignificant and just something that's been kind of, brought up by people to kind of downplay the fact that he was being chased.
I wasn't trying to downplay it. I was just nosy.
Oh, no, not you in general.
No, I just want to make it clear. I'm just nosy. I just was curious. Like, what did he chunk at him? A beer bottle, a pack of Twizzlers, a piece of gum? Like, what was it,
Who knows? That being said, though, I believe that when it comes to the case of his mother, I think that he was staying at a friend's house overnight the night before. He works in Kenosha, so I think that he was doing some sort of community thing where he was cleaning up the area after the riot took place the night before. But his mom didn't drive him to the protest. He was there with, I think, a friend, and the gun was, I don't even know if it was the one that his friend got him. It might have been his friend's dad's or something like that, that he, or maybe it was, but either way, his friend bought the gun for him to basically purchase from him when he turned 18, which I guess was, I think it might have happened recently.
Yeah, at the beginning of January. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I do appreciate you inviting me on. I have to go because I'm going to go play hockey in 20 minutes. But anyways, you have a very nice rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey, anytime.
Good luck.
Okay, what was I even looking for? Yeah, the guy was, he did have.
I mean, I can see how. I can see how he felt in that moment threatened, which is, this is my opinion. I don't like to see children charged with first-degree murder, even though this is not what his charge is, because they lack the life skills and the brain development to think at least 3 moves ahead. They have no concept of long-term ramifications. So in my opinion, he has an excellent case for self-defense. And if I were on the jury, just based on this, what we've seen right now, I would find him guilty of the reckless endangerment, just simply for shooting the warning shots. Because that's dangerous. I mean, that's what people get charged with when they shoot off guns, on the 4th of July or Christmas. It's, and you get caught, that's what your charge will be. So I definitely think, just based on this so far, what I've seen, that that's what he's guilty of. But I think there was failures along the way. That's just my opinion. With people that were, and I don't know how old his friend was that gave him the gun or whatever, but I would imagine relatively young. But none of them had any business being down there.
No.
Honestly.
No, and that's the sad part, because as this was happening live, I was watching all the different live streams, and I remember seeing him before he became the shooter. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this kid doing out here? He was injecting himself, hold on, let me see more towards the beginning here. He was butting into conversations, telling people what's what, explaining who, what, where, a nosy ass kid. And so
he was a kid being a kid.
Yeah, I remember thinking, man, kid, get out of here. What are you doing there? I remember having those thoughts. And then when all hell broke loose, and when people start talking about shots fired or whatever, that's the first thing that came into my mind was, my God, if that kid became trigger happy over something, you know, and sure enough, it was him. And I was like, well, damn. But then looking at that, looking at the recordings, you know, we don't know what caused the guy to chase him, but it does appear that, like, I can see how he could feel threatened.
But it makes you wonder also, if he had not been armed, would his mouth have been writing those checks in the first place?
Here's the victim. Here's one of the victims. He's in this crowd, just minutes before the shooting, arguing with people. Right here, right there. And he's screaming the N-word, yelling. You see, like, going in an aggressive way, intimidating these guys with freaking semi-automatics. Just, I don't know, like, you know, it was like he was looking for trouble, period. He was looking for trouble. Like, you can see right here, they're trying to separate him. He was there for trouble. And someone, I don't know. It's a tough one. But I do agree that Kyle does have a good defense. So it will be interesting to see. See,
I'm really
that bag right
about
there. I have a feeling that, like, I don't know, maybe he has a shirt, and because I think that was the same day that he got out of wherever he was, and the shit in the bag is literally whatever he had with him, his papers or whatever, because he had just gotten out of jail.
His property bag. I got you.
See, there he is right there, like,
yeah.
And so people like that, I'm sorry, this might be a bias of mine, but people like that are not there to protest the injustice of the of the racism in the police force, for example, which my understanding is that was at the core of this was.
Now, I will say this. I will say that I feel that there were lots and lots and lots and lots of people there for the right reason. They were genuinely protesting. They genuinely wanted to see change. But when you mix people with good intentions with people who are opportunists, bad things happen, and then they all get lumped together, and it's, oh, this whole movement is just wrong. It's all bad. It's the worst. And that's my problem. And I think with this kid in particular, I don't think that either side should be using him as an example of anything. Like, I don't think that people should be, you know, he broke the law by being in possession of a firearm, period. Period. You know, and I understand that he could have been scared being chased, which tells me that he's not prepared for life. Because if you're going to be in a crowd like that, where there's all kinds of chaos and people are hyped, then
see, there he is right there explaining.
And you feel like I feel like he felt emboldened by having that firearm. That's what I feel. I feel like if he had just been out there unarmed, I think he would have been a lot quieter.
Yeah. Yeah, and even analyzing what he's saying here to the reporters and everything like that, like, you can just see the excitement on his face, but it's like I don't know, it almost reminds me of, like, child soldiers, you know? Like, you know, just this kid who's living in a video game.
He looks like a kid who's playing Call of Duty in real life.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It's sad. I mean, it's sad. People died. Not just at his hands that night, but I mean, there were deaths all over the country because of this, you know, because of these opportunists. It's just, the whole thing is sad. The whole thing is sad.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he should be held up as an example. I don't think the state should be looking to make an example out of him, and nor do I think that people should be rushing to his aid and saying, oh, he's just a kid. Yeah, he's just a kid. You're right. Who had no business being out there.
And now he's surrounded by all of these adults with their own agendas.
Exactly.
And at this point, I feel like, him being at that bar, at that particular bar, like what brought him there? I want to know how he ended up there. And was his legal team there with him? And if they were, what the hell were they thinking? I have questions, and it just actually, as much as I can see Kyle's defense for being scared and fear for his life or whatever, doing shit like this, showing up at a bar, wearing a shirt saying free as F, drinking, and being serenaded by grown ass grizzlies who probably
yeah,
and pumping this kid's ego.
And what were they even there to? I mean, what were they celebrating?
Exactly.
You're on the hook for first-degree murder at 17. What is there to celebrate? Your attorneys can tell you all day long and twice on Sunday, we're going to get you off. We're going to get you off. But at the end of the day, unless there's some kind of plea made, if this goes to trial, your hands are in that of 12 jurors. And somebody had asked earlier, like, how they're going to get an impartial jury. And the truth is, a jury is made of humans. And we all know that human beings are fallible and, in fact, lie. Look at what happened to Scott Peterson. Strawberry shortcake, I'm looking at you. You wouldn't be getting a new trial if you'd have just been honest on your jury form. But anyway, I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for the prosecution to pick jurors, because likely any juror that they would want to have on the panel, the defense is going to reject. This is not going to see the inside of a courtroom for a good while, for sure.
Yeah.
But he definitely needs to be punished. And I think the thing that's so incensing to everybody, and it is to me personally, is the t-shirt. It's like he has no concept of what happened. He's not sitting back and saying, "Geez, I took a life. It could have been the other way around. Maybe I should lay low. Maybe I should count my blessings that I'm here."
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of him becoming like a living icon for all these crazies. I'm thinking about, like, the prosecutor mentioned the messaging board 4chan on there, and I don't know if you're familiar with all the different like church shootings that were going on. And there was one, I think, I can't remember where it was. I believe it was somewhere in Canada. It was a mosque shooting, and the guy was on that messaging board 4chan, and he was live streaming it, and a lot of the incel community or whatever is apparently like where they all hang out. And so when the prosecutor was describing these Proud Boys and calling them like the male only organization, it kind of had that incesty feel to it. Or not what are they called? Incel, not incel.
Yeah, I know what you meant, but you better correct that for the rest of us, for everybody else.
I mean incel. Yes. So who knows? So he like they like idealize these mass shooters, like that guy. What was that guy's name? From California. The Santa Barbara shooter.
Oh, the one in the movie theater that dressed up like the Joker.
That's James Holmes.
Okay.
He's from Colorado.
Is he?
Yeah, that was in Aurora, Colorado. The other one is oh my God, what the hell is his name? I can't think of it. But
Well, obviously, I don't know it. So if this was my initiation, I'd be getting punched. Two for
oh my
flinching.
God. That's one. You're in. How many times do you get to? How many questions do they ask?
Yeah, how many do you get wrong? What's the pass fail?
I don't know.
Oh God.
But yeah, so this will definitely be interesting. So this is the latest development. Now, literally, like that was the latest in the case, and then their next appearance is on. They have a pretrial conference on March 10th, and then March 29th, jury selection begins. So we'll see. We'll keep on top of it. But
Wow. That's actually kind of quick.
Yeah. And it's, now with the pandemic, everything is streamed live. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret of mine. Usually, like in the mornings is when I'm most productive. So that's when I do whatever I need to do. But I always need background noise, basically.
Right.
Just enough to not distract me, be boring enough, but also not be boring enough to, put me to sleep or whatever. So in the mornings, I just play the freaking initial appearances from the Kenosha County Court, and just listen to what people go to jail for. And there's some pretty interesting cases actually that I've heard. So, and I've also gotten to watch a couple of cases with this Judge Schrader. So I'm kind of familiar with his style. So I can already tell like he's gonna be a tough cookie. So he's not gonna be one that's gonna be easily, because there was a case one day that I was watching. I was like, damn, he ripped the prosecutor's butt apart because the prosecutor was not on top of it. There were a bunch of typos in the criminal complaint, and
Oh dear.
yeah, and the victims' names were wrong, and Judge Schrader went in on him. I was like, damn. So
I mean, I understand why he did, because this is all stuff that the judge has to read, and you should take a little pride you should take a lot of pride in your work before handing it in. Like how many times have we been in chat and you know exactly what I mean, but I will still correct it because I can't let it go. What if it goes sideways and you start screenshotting my chats, and then and then people are going to be like, she can't even write. Look at her. She can barely spell.
Well, what crossed my mind actually as I was watching this was, the district attorney, he looked pretty young. So I'm, I guess assuming based on that he's relatively new. So I think the judge was trying to use it as a teaching moment for him. And I think he definitely did teach him a lesson, because I don't think he's ever going to make that mistake again. So I could kind of relate to him on that level, knowing that it's kind of sometimes to being early on in your career, like the dumbest things, slip by.
Yeah, because you're nervous and you're so, yeah, I get it. But that's good that, I mean,
but that's what I thought. Like that's how I read the intention of the judge, wasn't to humiliate him, but it was a teaching moment for him.
Which is good that he keeps a tight rein on his courtroom, because this case most definitely is going to call for it.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, that's what crossed my mind when I saw that. The first thing that crossed my mind was the Watts case, because look at us.
Yes, look at us.
Dissecting every single word.
Just look at us.
Just look at us. And can you imagine if we had some rookie DA like misspelling shit in there? There's already enough errors in the discovery as it is, but for the DA to contribute to that, especially with us.
Yes. Can you imagine?
Yeah. So that's probably a good thing that like you said, like the work needs to be correct. The record needs to be correct.
It
So,
does need to be correct. Like I'm still stuck on that one document in discovery where it's the defense attorney and they're notifying the DA and the police that the defendant now has representation and they're not to be questioned outside of their presence, and but they the pronoun they use is her. Remember we talked about this? Who is her? Who are they talking about? Like
sometimes I see that. Sometimes I see that too, because a lot of court documents are templates basically. So I feel like they just copy and paste certain paragraphs and just forget to change the pronouns, because a lot of legal stuff is just copy and paste.
I mean, I get it that you should be. Those are things that people pay attention to. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, when it comes to like presenting evidence and stuff like that, particularly things that are typed, the jury can request to take back evidence. Let's say let's say Chris had gone to trial, right? And they decided to take back the screenshots of the text messages and the phone dumps. That record being accurate is important, because that's what the jury is going to look at. That's what they're basing their decision on. So it's important. This isn't like me being nitpicky because they use the wrong pronoun. It's because that's how it starts. You know what I mean? Those things are important, which, you know how I feel about that 35C.
Oh, I know, but I know. As do I.
But I do think that Kyle has an excellent case for self-defense, unless there is other stuff out there that we just haven't seen or we don't know about yet, which I'm curious about. That to me, it does seem like it is a case. He does have an excellent case for self-defense, but he definitely, I mean, at the end of the day, he took a life.
This is just scary. This image for me is just scary. I mean, he just shot and endangered so many people, and he's walking through a police line basically, and is able to walk through it without any scratches on him. He
doesn't even get stopped.
No,
they don't even just slow down to be like, hey, what are you doing out here, kid? It's, and I don't want to, it's very hard for me not to be judgy. We've talked about this. I can't imagine being any type of law enforcement in that situation. The chaos of it all, I can't imagine. And I don't think that setting cities on fire is a way to effect change. I really don't.
Yeah. So Kat made an excellent point in response to Pete. Pete says, I don't think his intention at the start of the evening was to kill anyone. I think it was to protect the community, and that's a good thing. And Kat says it's not a 17-year-old's job. And I agree with that. He's too young to be out there playing war hero.
I mean,
look, I love Kenosha, and I lived in Kenosha and worked in Kenosha and all of that. I love Kenosha. But let me tell you, I'm not about to go stand out there with no AK-47. No, thank you. But again, like, I'm obviously different, but just.
Oh, I'll say. No, just kidding.
Yeah. And I grew up in a damn war. If anything, I don't know. It's just.
But What was he out there to
Dangerous.
protect, Pete? Was he out there to protect human life or buildings?
Protecting buildings.
See, and listen, if it were my business, would
Let
I
the
be,
insurance protect the business, Dan. What the hell?
yeah, I would be devastated. My heart goes out to everybody in this situation. I just feel like he had no business being out there. He's 17 years old. Okay, he can't vote, he can't join a military, and he can't go into a bar without his mama to get a drink. He has zero business protecting the community. That's it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And if it sounds like from when I did this video, I did it in September. That was like 5-6 days after the event. So I looked into him back then, and it seems like he was just one of those kids. Like, he liked law enforcement and military stuff, and he seemed like that was his interest, and that's kind of what steps he was taking in terms of his future and his career. Like, he wanted to be some form of law enforcement officer, and was taking the steps even now, like as a kid, to achieve those goals, which I think is also positive. But then, where did it go wrong that now he's in jail, waiting like a murder trial? And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, this is the disconnect between an adult making an informed adult decision. Even if it's bad, you're still an adult, right? You know how to weigh your options, and you know how to weigh the opportunity cost and what the consequences could potentially be. But this is what happens when kids get involved with stuff they have zero business getting involved in. This isn't like Red Dawn. Okay, the Russians weren't invading and in their small town, and they had to defend the women and the children. That's not what happened here. It was a riot. Period.
It was a riot. That's right.
He had no business being down there.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll keep on top of this case. So the next hearing or pretrial conference is in March, and then jury selection as well. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. And this case is fascinating as well. So we'll see what happens with it. But
I wonder if they'll have Kyle testify.
That's a good one. I doubt it. I've also observed his attorney, and he seems to know what he's doing. He sounds expensive. Let's just say that. So I think Kyle's defense is probably going to be on top of it. So this is going to be a good trial.
I feel like, though, generally speaking, I am anti the accused taking the stand in their own defense, because it almost never works out for them.
Never.
Jodi Arias.
Yeah.
Lord. But in this situation, because it goes so much to his state of mind at the time, I almost think there's almost zero way around it, because it could be argued at the beginning what kicked this all off, being chased, but what happened prior to that. So there was like smack talking back and forth or whatever, and then he was being chased. Okay, but he didn't catch you. You turned around and shot him. So like, I think, and that's probably what the prosecution is going to argue. And I think the only way to get all the way around that, which is a risky and dicey move, and I could tell you right now that going to the bar for celebratory drinks, regardless of who is there, what happened at the bar makes it worse. But the fact that he was just in a bar, period, is bad enough. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the only way for the jury to sympathize, and I think they're going to be expecting to hear from him. I really do. Most of the time, jurors don't, and they're even instructed that having the, if the defendant doesn't take the stand, you're not to, read into that. It's their right not to take the stand. But I think in this case, I know if I were a juror, I would want to hear what he had to say. Like, I would just want to ask him, little boy, what was going through your head?
Mm-hmm.
You are a little boy playing a grown-up game. What were you thinking?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, and this is going to be one that, no matter what the verdict is, there are going to be people that are mad,
Mm-hmm.
livid mad, crazy mad.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely going to. I don't know, but I think this event is definitely going to bring about some changes in the law enforcement department too here in Kenosha. I think they're going to be. I think this is going to be a huge teaching moment for everybody involved. But at the same time, it's also it has the potential to become a very dangerous weapon in the political arena, I guess.
It really does.
Yeah. And that's
really
the thing,
does.
like with putting Kyle on the stand, just from observing him from the first footage or from the before the shooting or whatever, like he seemed very naive, like a kid. He seemed like a kid. And the specific reporter who was talking to him, you can tell, previously he had made some statements, and obviously he was there from freaking InfoWars or whatever. Like, he's a Alex Jones reporter. So, obviously, like, he's there for his reason and obviously sympathizes, whatever. So when he was asking Kyle questions, you can tell that he was kind of leading him to answer it in a way to suit him, but Kyle wouldn't, because it just flew above his head. He wasn't getting the implicit messages that this reporter was trying to get him to say. And eventually, he just stopped asking questions and started avoiding him. So you can see that in there, that he's just, Kyle's just one of those annoying kids that's just like, yeah, let me explain everything to you. Let me explain the solar system to you. And you're just like, kid, just leave me alone. So I feel like putting him on the stand in his own defense could be a double-edged sword, because he could just be, easy to lead, I guess, and to mess up and get him to say something that he would later, regret.
I mean, I 100% agree. It is a dicey proposition, but I just can't see how the prosecution is going to show all the things. I mean, that's what their job is. Their job,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Their job is to, prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So they're going to show all the things. Any remarks he made prior, any remarks he made after, during, all of it. It's all going to be out there. And it's easier for the defense than it is for the prosecution. The prosecution needs all 12. The defense only needs one.
Mm-hmm.
They just need one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just don't see how. What the defense is going to need to they're going to have to present Kyle as you want him to be sympathetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't see a way for them to do that. I mean, I suppose they could call character witnesses up there, to explain, how he is. But I don't know if that's gonna do it. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm watching this closely.
I'm watching several trials. There's several
Oh yeah.
good ones coming up that I'm
Yeah,
excited about. Not a
me too.
35C appeal or anything like that, but other ones.
Oh
Ah,
girl, you know what? I don't know. By the time we get this 35C thing going.
I mean, I feel like let if we're gonna start the 35C, I'm not an attorney, and obviously, I'm not the smartest person on the planet. But it just seems to me the first step would be, oh, I don't know, have an attorney of record, just
Right.
one, not a panel. You just need one, just one. Like you got to crawl, before you could walk. You got to walk before you can run. You know, I guess certain people just don't watch Karate Kid because those are nature's rules, not mine.
Yeah, I
If
guess.
they did watch, they'd know.
Well, this would be one of those times when I would get punched because I stayed away from all sorts of martial arts movies. Those are like my least
Okay,
favorite genre.
first of all, I'm going to have to let you know that Karate Kid is not a martial arts movie. It's not like Bruce Lee's Kung Fu. It's nothing like that. It's
Ugh,
like one of those 80s, they teach you a life lesson about,
I'd rather
bullying is bad and sometimes you got to stand up to your bully and, all
I get
that.
the same message from Stephen King's It.
Oh my God. Which, by the way, speaking of that, the remake was
Mhm.
really good.
I love that. Yeah.
It was so much better than I remember being a kid and watching the miniseries on I think it was on ABC, and I felt so cheated at the end of it. I was like,
Hmm.
"What? That's not right." Then I read the book, and then I watched the remake, and I was very impressed. I'm also really impressed with the remake of The Stand that's on CBS All Access. It's way closer to the book, and it's way better than the miniseries that they showed in 1994.
Mm. I haven't seen that one. Wow. But yeah. Stella is right here moaning already, asking for my attention. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here
Sounds good.
so I can attend to Her Majesty.
You need to. You
Yes.
better curtsy first, then address her as Your Majesty, and then you can call her ma'am for the rest of the day.
She's just so cute.
All right.
But
Well,
yes, thank you for this awesome conversation and thanks for being
thank you
here with
for
me, Jen.
having me. You're welcome anytime.
Yes, and thanks everyone for watching, for listening.
And
And
putting up with our technical difficulties.
oh, that's right. That's yeah. Oh, I can finish this now too, so I can focus on saying bye to everybody. Yes, so thank you for joining us. Thank you to the mods, Caffeine Q, Karen. Kat is gone. So yeah, this was our Kyle stream, and I have other stuff that I really want to talk about, but we'll
Maybe
have
we'll go
to.
live later, or maybe tomorrow or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We could do that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting topics that we can definitely talk for hours and hours and hours
Yes.
about. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll see you soon for sure. But in the meantime, thank you for being here. Thanks for the conversation, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.